I've worked security for about 9 years now, mostly overnight shifts. It's never really bothered me. I'm not one of those people who needs a lot of background noise or social interaction to stay sane. I actually prefer the solitude. For the past year, my regular post has been the night shift at a closed-down manufacturing plant just outside of town. The company hasn't operated there in a while, but the building's still under contract with our firm for liability reasons. Copper theft, you name it. My job is to patrol, check door seals, monitor the camera feeds in the office, and file a shift log. 12 hours to 7 a.m., 5 nights a week. 90% boredom, 10% paperwork. That's about it. The place itself is huge. 3 levels of concrete corridors, old machines tarped over like sleeping dinosaurs that face nothing but empty lots. Still smells like oil and burnt wiring in half the rooms. The power's still running to key systems cameras, emergency lighting, basic HVAC, and for some reason, the break room. That's where this started. The break rooms in the southwest corner of the building. Nothing special. Standard 2 microwaves, coffee vending machine that doesn't work anymore, and a motion sensor overhead light that clicks on when you enter. Thing got a glitchy mind of its own sometimes. It would flick on when you barely crossed the hall. Usually, I did one manual walk around every few hours just to break up the monotony. I'd leave the office, check the rear dock doors, walk through the tool rooms, climb the emergency stairwells, and swing past the break room toward the end. It was routine, always quiet, always empty. One night about a month ago, I noticed that the light in the break room was already on when I passed by. Sometimes maintenance timers roll off. Whack. I figured motion sensor, maybe a mouse or whatever. I walked in anyway, just to log it. Room was empty, no wind, no flickering. I waved my hand in front of the sensor. The light blinked, then turned off. Didn't think twice, but then it kept happening. The next night, same issue. I approached the hallway. Click. I stood in the doorway for a good minute that time, watching. Nothing. I stepped in, turned in a slow circle, like how a hotel bathroom feels after someone else just used it. That fresh left, behind warmth. Sensors probably shot. I muttered aloud, trying to comfort myself. Later in the shift, I pulled the camera log during dead time. The hallway that faced the break room had a static angle cam on it, grainy, but enough to see movement. I rewound to 3 hours earlier, moment when the motion light would have triggered. And yeah, at 1:42 a.m., the light inside the break room clicks on. But what made my stomach drop is that I could swear I saw a shape in the window, just for a frame or two. Reflection from inside the break room window facing the hall. Looked like the outline of someone tall, mid-stride, but I never saw anyone actually enter. I hovered my mouse, rewound, slowed frame by frame. Nothing clearly visible going in or out. No motion in the hallway. No doors opened. No footsteps heard. Then shape. Then darkness. Over the next few nights, I'd pass that hallway and feel a cold spot, like an actual shift in air pressure. Once or twice, I'd swear I smelled something faint, not rot exactly, but a kind of wet cloth smell. Old dish rags, maybe, didn't even have a sink. On the 5th night, I decided I'd go in fast, no hesitation. Slam in, light on, check corners. Carried a flashlight just in case. So I walked down the hall. Light was off this time. Good sign. Was halfway to the door when, click, light flared on instantly. It wasn't just a soft sensor fade. It was like someone was already standing in there, center of the room. My hands clenched on the flashlight and my pace slowed. I was so damn sure that someone had to be in there this time. Nothing. The chairs were still. Microwave door cracked open like always. Vending machine flashing odud 100, walls humming faintly. I left the room slowly, didn't turn my back to it until I hit the hall corner. When I got back to the office, heart half pounding, I clicked into the camera system again. This time I screenshotted every possible angle to a drive. Watched again. Same time stamp 1:42 a.m. Break room light clicks on by itself. But this time, something happened I still can't explain. On the side feed from the hallway cam, the edge of the frame shows part of the break room doorway. 4:11 and 1:4/2013. 2 seconds. A figure seems to lean out of the room, like a person slightly hunched unnaturally to one side, then vanishes. Now, the resolution on those cameras is garbage. You've got 20 feet of hallway, half of it blown out from the emergency exit light glare. But what gets me is that it doesn't look like someone walking by. It looks like they're watching whoever's watching the footage, like they knew. The strangest thing, actually saw a person in real life. Just phantom lights, half hints on grainy footage, intense not alone feeling in one specific hallway, which, for the record, never shows anything on motion logs past entrance and exit points. But here's where it stopped. 2 nights later, the camera in that hallway cut out. Just that one. I came back after my break at 3:00 a.m. and saw red text on the monitor. Zuenein HL C3 Gmail Ost. No error, no restart. Just gone. I went up to the hallway in person right then and there. Convinced myself it was just a power issue. I shined my flashlight toward the break room, and the light was already on. Sensor or not, that light stayed on the rest of the shift. Never turned off again. I filed a ticket, logged all of it. No cameras were repaired. The hallway feed still shows that red, no signal, block every night. Maintenance claimed they don't manage that floor anymore. I've since been reassigned to a different post across town. Smaller building, spots. Still got my printout of that screenshot, though. The one with the faint figure leaning in. I don't know why I keep it. To remind myself I wasn't imagining it. Or maybe to remind myself not to go back. CRWay 2, I didn't start working night shifts by choice. I was laid off from my retail job during COVID. Thing I could find quickly was a custodial position at an assisted living center. Midnight to 8 a.m. Not ideal, but it paid better than I expected and they didn't drug test. So I took it. The facility isn't like a hospital or grim nursing home. It's one of those mid-range elder care centers that look decent during the day but reveal their age after sundown. Hallways go dark. The flickering exit signs become the main source of light. You start hearing things you ignored during training. The hum of the old fridge compressor, the water pipes flexing inside the walls, the elevators clunking even when no one's used them. This job is mostly janitorial, but the overnight staff is sparse. Just one nurse, sometimes 2 if someone's in hospice. No visitors after 8, no routines. Just keep the place clean and check in every few hours. Every shift started the same clock in, grab the keys, do my first floor sweep, empty trash, wipe baseboards if the nurse needed help. Then I'd work my way up. Second floor, then third. Now here's the thing. They told me from day one the third floor is closed. The whole level had been under renovation for at least a year. No residents, no furniture, just stripped rooms and rolling bins full of old supplies. The elevator still opens on that floor. No one should ever be up there. I was only supposed to mop the hallway once a week to stop dust buildup. Otherwise, leave it alone. It started on my second week. I was cleaning the stairwell around 2 a.m. when I heard a chime, like one of those old-style nurse call buttons. It was faint, but distinct. One short ding. I only knew what it was because I'd heard it on other floors. When residents needed help, that soft two-tone alert that echoes from the room and repeats down a hallway speaker. This one had come from above me, from the third floor. I stood there on the landing for a solid 30 seconds, just listening. Staff to react, nothing. So I climbed the rest of the stairs and pushed the door open. Dark, silent, but not empty. One of the room lights, room 312, was on. I want you to understand this. There should have been no power to that wing. Those rooms were gutted, beds removed, medical equipment stripped, curtains gone, no plug in fixtures, just hanging wires and leftover stains. But room 312's light was glowing a pale yellow through the tiny gap in the door. Maintenance! Like someone would answer. Then I pushed the door open. The room was part cleaned, still had the rails from a bed installation and old curtain tracks overhead. The smell hit me hard. Old bleach, dust, something else, but that same dry throat burn. And on the wall above the disconnected call box, a small red light was blinking. The call button had been pushed moments before I walked in. Let me remind you, those systems were cut. They told me that straight out. The whole floor was inactive. So how the hell did I hear the chime? I left fast. Not running. Just fast enough not to seem irrational. I told the nurse downstairs. She raised an eyebrow and asked if I was trying to earn hazard pay. And next night I brought it up again. She rolled her eyes, said no one goes up there. Said if I don't want the third floor, just swap with a Wednesday guy. I didn't. I stayed. It was a mistake. That Friday I came in like usual. When I went to retrieve my ring of keys from the locked janitor drawer, they weren't there, just missing. The entire drawer had been unlocked and slid open slightly, like someone had just checked it before me. When I asked if anyone had borrowed them earlier, the nurse on shift shrugged. Keys don't leave the drawer unless you take him. I had a spare master key in my bag, so I used that for the night. I was uneasy, especially after 17 a.m. I know the time because I wrote it in the logbook. That's when I heard the elevator ding and watched the digital floor light above it blink. Again. No one should have been on that floor. Elevator shouldn't even have power routed to open a door up there unless someone inside called it. Rushed out to the hallway and waited near the elevator. After a few seconds ding, doors opened. Empty. I checked the floor buttons. Button had been pressed recently. The light was still fading out. I stepped inside just to make sure no one was hiding. Pressed the button for third floor myself. Rode up. Doors slid open. Every light in the hallway was on. The ones that hadn't worked in weeks, the cold blue fluorescents flickering miserably to life, like someone had already walked the hallway and triggered the motion sensors. I stepped out. I shouldn't have. About halfway down, in the reflection of the polished floor tiles, I saw movement, not ahead of me, behind me. I turned around fast. Nothing there. But damn if I didn't feel it. That static pressure at my back like breath, over your neck. I didn't turn away again until I reached the stairwell door. It was propped open an inch with my missing janitor keyring wedged underneath it. I never reported that. I just picked up the keys, walked down the stairs, and finished my shift. But after that, I requested weekday shifts only. Not overnight, not weekends, without question. Probably not the first time someone had made that request. I went back recently to drop off paperwork, asked about the third floor. They said renovations are still pending, but one of the new hires, a night shift guy, said the stairwell door doesn't stay closed anymore. He says room 312 never went dark again. It's just easier if you don't go up there. Y3 I used to work the overnight booth at a parking garage downtown, one of those private multi-level lots attached to office buildings that pretty much turns into a ghost town after 9 p.m. Called it the Cube, because the little booth we sat in looked like a fish tank. 4 glass walls, a single rolling window, humming monitor glow that felt like your only company at night. It wasn't high security. Mostly gates, cameras, exits when someone forgot their pass. The place ran itself, really. My job was to sit in the booth from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., monitor the camera feeds, and make sure no one was sleeping in their cars or trespassing after hours. Once or twice a month, we'd have a drunk driver stuck in the stairwell or a gate jam, but that's about it. At least, that's what I thought was normal. Everything changed in mid-February. I remember because it had just snowed, the roof deck was covered in that soft, white blanket of untouched silence. The first weird thing I noticed was a person standing at the third level stairwell on camera, just off to the corner of the feed from camera 14. They were standing against the wall, like waiting for something. That in itself isn't strange. Sometimes people come back late from a night out, call their ride stairwell where it's sheltered. But it was 2:36 a.m., and we keep a gate log of all entry and exit badges. According to my system, no one should have been on site since 11:45 p.m., so I called it in to the weekend backup guard. Standard protocol: leave the booth unless there's a failure in the gate. He's supposed to sweep the decks on foot. Took him 7 minutes to get to level 3. I watched him on camera 13 as he stepped around the stairwell door. The figure was already gone. That should have been the end of it. Probably someone who ducked down a level when they heard someone coming. But the next night, same time, 2:36 a.m. sharp, I saw them again. Same stairwell, same spot. Same standing posture, no pacing. Just standing close to the wall with one arm slightly extended, like maybe holding something. I thought it might be a phone, but the screen wasn't lit. And from the angle, it looked like they didn't want to be seen, closer to the monitor. Tried toggling the 2x digital zoom, which honestly doesn't help much. But here's what stopped me. Shadow. None. The fluorescent bulbs overhead cast hard angles, and you could see shadows for every single support beam, rail, light pole, but the figure? Nothing. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, looked again. The person was still there, but no silhouette beneath them. I called again. The backup guard did another sweep. Nothing there. He radioed back, annoyed. "You sure you saw someone? These stairs are dead empty." "What about footprints?" I asked. "Snow upstairs." He paused. "No tracks. Floors are completely dry." Later that shift, I rewound the feed and watched the figure appear. No walking in. Just visible. Out of nowhere. At 2003-6002, the stairwell landing was empty. At 2003-6904, there they were, standing, facing nothing, not moving. Night 3 changed everything. Same pattern. Same time. But this time they turned. Slowly. I don't know how to describe it except to say that movement felt off. Watching someone turn without moving their feet. Like whatever part moved first wasn't the neck. It was the torso, twisting in minor degrees before the head followed. And then I watched them start walking toward the camera, toward the lens of camera 14. Their face never came into clear view. The old lens caught light wrong. Long coat. Shadowed hood. You can make out hair or skin. Just 2 steady steps, then a fade. Not them turning back. Not walking off frame, more like phased out. From presence to static. Gone. I logged everything. Compiled report. Exported all footage to a thumb drive and forwarded it with my written notes. Never heard a word from management. Until the week after. I was sitting in the cube, spooning cold soup out of a thermos, when I caught motion on camera Aero 2, covers the street. Level exit lane near the booth. You'd only see someone there if they walked past the main pay station toward the operator's window. But this person, they were standing still. Right up against the glass, but not looking in. They were looking down, were reading something pressed to the security glass. I didn't breathe. I moved as silently as I could, reached for the booth's control lock, checked if the doors were auto-secured. They were. I glanced back at the camera monitor. Gone. Out the actual window, no one there. After a few beats, the vehicle exit gate lifted on its own. No car, no signal. Just lifted, hissed, stayed open. Then closed. Final night I came to work and the system was down. All cams offline. External monitor black. They said it was maintenance. But I still remember what I saw on my last saved clip from the night before, the figure in the stairwell suddenly turning to face the camera. This time, head tilted like they were listening. I don't have proof anymore. They cleared the logs, changed the camera lineups, added new system IDs I don't have access to, but sometimes I drive by at night just out of habit. Just once. I thought I saw the same shape standing near the after-hours exit. No badge, no car. Nothing. Just there. Waiting.